You fresh out of high school. You going to college?
I don't know about that. See, that was a tough conversation to have with my parents. I told them that college wasn't really in my favor because I was very good at school. I was always getting good grades, always an honor roll. But at the same time, I did that for just to make sure that my parents were like, like do good in school because, I was just doing it for them. But I didn't really like any of that stuff. Like none of that stuff resonated with something that I was really passionate about. So when it came up to going to college, they were willing to pay like $3,000 for me to go, a month for me to go to college, and I was like, I don't know if I want to put that on them if I don't even want to do it, like if I don't want to take advantage of it.
That's
And I was
considerate.
yeah,
Very considerate.
and I was like, so what am I gonna go? What am I gonna do if I go to college? Because I'm very introspective. I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do when I go to college? I'm like, I kind of want to do business management or something like that, but I'm like, what can they teach me in college about business if they don't have their own business to teach me? They don't have it.
Mm.
So I was like, okay, where could I go to learn what I want to learn to get into business and entrepreneurship and just learn this, this new field, this new industry. And I was like, hey, I got to come to Atlanta. I got to come down here, just the home of just the black entrepreneurs. Just I had to be down here, and it's just better than college anyway, because down here I can still get that networking aspect, just the community aspect, but everybody's working towards the same thing, just like-minded people, and it's everywhere. Like everywhere I look, there's just entrepreneurs, like everywhere. So,
What is your story?
so I used to be a troubled kid. Not trouble as in like I would do bad things on my own. Like I didn't. I was growing up in a really good household. My parents loved me. My parents appreciated me and cared for me and stuff like that. But I was always misbehaving and stuff like that. And that stemmed from when my sister passed away when she was 5 years old.
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, that's happened when I was like about 10 or 11 years old. And after that, like when I started going like out of elementary school and going into middle school and high school, then things started being different. I started being more aggressive, started being more annoying and less friendly to people, and just very hard to be around. And I kind of did it on myself, like everything.
I feel like you was hurt.
Yeah, I was hurt, like, and just I was always upset with people, just in general. Like I saw like the worst in people, like for a long
Mm.
time, and even if people like had good intentions and stuff like that, I would always see the bad in it, and I would always like I would try to get into fights. I would always like not stand down to people. I was very like, you can't like get rid of me because life is already gonna get rid of me anyway. So I'm gonna just
Mm.
stand here and just fight my ground. And just that's kind of the mentality that I had. And then eventually I had to get out of it once I hit 10th grade. I
What
like
happened?
10th grade, when I was about to go into my 10th grade year, I was going to my new school, which was Oxon Hill. And I told myself I'm not going to have the same year that I've had these past few years. And I figured out, okay, what do I need to change? So I looked myself in the mirror for about 3 hours, like 2, 3 hours straight, just looking at myself, talking to myself, saying, all right, you got to change. You got to do something different. You can't keep doing this because you don't want to end up, the same way that you've been doing these past years, getting into fights, not having friends, just making people distant from you. You can't do that.
You were saying you're talking to yourself. Like what was that? Like what happened that made you be like, that's the end?
Because I was going through, because when you, and I also recommend it to everybody, like just people in general, when you feel a certain way, like when you feel a certain way, feeling is just fake. Like emotions are just they're made up in our bodies to make us feel and process a certain way. So if you're in your head and you're thinking like third person, like, okay, I'm looking at myself and I'm acting this way because of this, you kind of start looking at yourself and like, why am I acting like this? I don't want to feel like this, so I'm just not. So you kind of just got to work your way up to it. But I had to take a step back and start, because I was dodging everything. Like stuff started happening to me, and I was like,
Mm.
"Oh, it's this fault. It's this person's fault. It's that person's fault. It's not mine. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do," and they just keep coming at me and stuff like that. But after a while, it kept happening. So I'm like, "Okay, well, it keeps happening for years and years and years. It must be somebody else. I mean, it must be me. So I got to figure it out." So I had to look into myself and figure out what am I dealing with that I could change. And then when I changed it, changed everything.
Got you. When you say you changed everything, what is everything?
It changed the trajectory of where I would be, because I could either be in jail, dead, etc., just because of like different things that I was getting caught up into. And I told myself that I'm not going to, because I'm going to set myself up for better. And even though I'm going to this new school, even though I have a new start, I still have to have a new start in myself. If you
Mm.
don't, I'm just the same person in a new school.
Got you. What interests you in trading stocks?
So trading stocks is a tool. It's not really like a okay, this is like something I'm passionate about. This is not something that I'm like, this is I love doing it. It's more of like a okay, this is a tool for me to leverage my money and increase it and grow it through learning the process, learning strategies and learning how to actually do it and go about it. And once I realized that, then I just learned that okay, it's basically just a game. The more I play it, the more I practice it, the more I learn about it, the more I can get better. So I just think of it like that, and it's helped me so far. I started that when I was in December. Actually, I actually asked my parents for a course, and I didn't ask for a game, no nothing. I was like, "Hey, I just want a course." They was like, "What?" They was a little confused, but I was like, because everybody else asked for games, toys, and
Right, right,
stuff
right.
like that, and I was asking for a course, and they gave it to me. It was a Wall Street Trapper's stock option, not stock options, his investing course, and it wasn't even about options, but it was literally about how to invest and how to research companies and break it down. And I went through that, and that taught me enough to literally make my first options trade. Because what I did was I applied the same principles of researching companies, understanding it, understanding the value, and understanding its projected value over a certain amount of time. And then I used that to make my first trade, and I actually did that. So Christmas Day, I got the course and I was just going through it on Christmas Day. It was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm going through something, watching some video. And then from December 25th to the 26th, I was just going through the course. Then the 27th, I was researching the stock that I wanted to trade, that I wanted to, like look up and research. And then I think it was the 29th. The 28th, I researched how they actually trade options. I didn't even know how to do it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 29th, I made my first options trade on Neo. It was I used $580, and then I took that, and then it was 2 weeks later, and my birthday was January 10th. So Capricorn, and so birthday January 10th, and I had my birthday. That was that Sunday. Then the market opened Monday. I didn't even care about my birthday. I didn't care. I was like, I need, you know what I'm
You need
saying?
that
Like,
sauce
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. So it came and Neo ran up to 66 because of my predictions of like the value of the company, how it would go up. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna cash out on it, and I sold it for $2,041. I still remember the amount right now.
I'm not a stock guy. What's the difference between like trading and then options? Like, like I know that you can buy stock and then you can sell it as it grows. I could buy one stock that's worth $1. It grows to 10. I could sell it. Go from there.
Yeah.
So, what's options trading?
So options trading. So what you're saying with buying and selling stocks, that's the same thing as trading. Basically, if you buy it at 60 and sell it at 61, you made $1. You traded it.
Right.
That's basically what it is. Buying and selling options is the same thing. You're just leveraging more. So think of it like a piece of paper, right? And I have 100 shares of, let's say, Apple on that piece of paper. So normally, if I had to buy Apple, it's like $150, right? So 150, and I had to buy 100 shares of it. That's like $15,000 that I got to pay for 100 shares,
Right.
just to even like trade it. And then, like, if it goes up, then I make money, but I have to pay $15,000 just to trade that. Like, that's kind of a little dumb, a little bit. Not dumb, but it's like there's better. So options, it allows you to use way less money to trade far more, like have more power. So I can trade 100 shares with $15,000 worth of Apple with maybe like $100, $200, like for one contract. So one contract holds $15,000 worth, but I'm only spending $200 for that contract, and it's an expiration period on it. So think of it like a time limit. Like I have a certain time limit to do what I need to do with this option. So if it goes up or down and I sell it, that's how I make my money basically.
How do you do this without gambling? Because it sounds like you're gambling a little
So
bit.
I had to learn that too. So
Okay.
there's two ways to go about it, and I recommend using both. Fundamental analysis and technical analysis. So when I first started trading options, with the first trade I did, I didn't know anything about charts, technicals, or the lines and all that crazy stuff. I didn't know about it.
Man,
So
that stuff look like Chinese,
it do,
right?
yeah.
Okay, okay.
It look crazy.
At least I'm not like the only person. But go
Yeah.
ahead. You were saying.
So fundamental analysis is understanding the actual company that you're trading. So understanding the profit and loss, the earnings reports, like what is their expected profits during this month, during this quarter, what is their annual, quarterly reports like, and like just looking at the actual company, like how is the company doing, basically. And if you see that and understand and break that down, you'll be able to understand, okay, right now it's kind of has like good like financial statements and stuff like that, but it's at this price, so it could either go down or up based on this information that I have. So that's literally how investors like typically try to look at, like, stocks and stuff like that. And that's how people either short squeeze, like for example, GameStop was going out of business. The financials for the company were bad, so what hedge funds were doing, they were short selling it, which was basically saying it's going to go down, and they make money for it going down. And everybody was doing it. They have like millions of them.
Today, you are teaching people how to invest.
Yes.
All right. What's tell us about that.
So actually, that started with, because at first I was just going to do it for me and just learn it for myself and develop it. I didn't think I was like qualified enough to like teach anybody yet.
Why don't you think you were qualified enough?
Because, well, mainly because of my age. Like I was like, okay, what are they gonna learn from me at 18? I just turned 18.
They can learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, that too. That's what I learned about it. I was like, okay, they can learn from my mistakes. They can learn this new skill that I know, and they could just learn from it. And that, because I don't have to be at level 5 to teach them how to get to level 4, level 5. I'm at level 2, level 3. I can teach them how to get there, and they're at level 0. So at the same time, they still want to learn something. So I started getting into it when because I told my friends about it, like I was doing this and stuff like that, and I had to start taking like breaks from them, like because I used to play the game and stuff like that with them. And that was after I made like that amount of money. I was like, all right, I gotta do some more research. So I gotta see later. Yeah, I actually sold my Xbox like about a month or 2 ago.
Gotcha. You got that money in the market too?
Yes. Yeah. You already know. You already know it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, after that, they started coming back to me, like just hitting me up and stuff like that. We were chopping it up. But I was overall just keep it to myself, focusing on business, focusing on learning these different things. And their parents started hitting me up, like learning, like, hey, how do you set up my son's account, like custodial account and stuff like that, how to set it up. And I was like, oh yeah, I was just walking through it, like how to set up their TD Ameritrade, how to set up their account.
You're inspiring right now.
And it was so weird because I was like, I got off the phone and I'm like, I hung up and I'm like, I just had a 40-year-old adult hit me up, 18 years old, about investing, like where to put their money. And I was like, that was just different because they was asking me about like different stocks and stuff like that to get into. And I told them like, what is their goals? And it was like growth, like steady growth and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well, I gave you a list of stocks that you could look at, some ETFs, mainly just consistent growth. And after that, I was just hitting up different people that were like, no, people were hitting up me, just like asking me for advice. And I was like, why are you asking me for advice? It was so weird because I was like, because in my mind at the time, I didn't think I was qualified enough to give that information. Then when I started seeing like, okay, what am I doing for people? I was like, all right, I got to step this up a little bit and learn some more and then teach it some more. Because learning is the teaching is the best way to learn. So
it is.
I was like, I want to get better at this, so I got to teach other people how to do it. So I was teaching people. My friends were asking me how to do it. I had this one queen, she was asking me how to just go into investing and stuff like that. She's around my age, and I just gave her the game on that and broke it down.
You got to get rid of your fear of age. I think that your age is actually will propel you. I'm going to tell you something. I'm 40. You're 20, or you're 18.
18.
If we walk into a room and we ask the same person, at different times, I walk in before you, hey, are you willing to, can you help me with this?
Yeah, it's going to be different.
And if you ask the same question, can you help me with this? Who they're going to give, who are they going to help? Who do you think they'll help?
They'll help me because potential.
Leverage it. You know what I mean? It's sad, but I feel like somebody look at me like you had enough time to figure it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
as in contrary to you, they feel like they're going to do a good deed by empowering you. What in the world are ETFs?
Okay, ETF is just basic exchange traded fund. So think of it like a basket of stocks.
Exchange traded funds.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So think of it like a basket of stocks. So I'm gonna give you an example like the S&P 500. You could SPY. It has the top 500 companies, the largest companies, and you could see in the U.S. So you could see like okay, what's the top 500 companies, and just see what they are. I think I forgot what the list, like the whole entire list, but I know like Apple is in there, Google's in there, Tesla, etc. Like there's the biggest companies are in that basket of that ETF. That's why it's continuously kept growing over time, and it's actually reaching new highs now. QQQ is another ETF as well. That has the Nasdaq 100 top 100 companies.
Which one holds the tech?
The tech QQQ.
Got you.
So it has Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Google, I think Facebook. There's a few more, but
That's
those are
the
like
way to
one of
go,
the
though,
top
right?
holders. Yeah,
Those the way the world's going.
Yeah, those are stable, like really like stable stocks usually because tech isn't really going anywhere.
So when you say stable, are you referring to stable growth?
Stable like because over time like because of these certain ETFs like okay I'm gonna give another ticker UVXY, and it actually is the opposite of SPY. So over time SPY goes up, over time UVXY goes down in value. So basically it's basically the opposite of SPY. So I actually traded both of those at the same time. So if SPY is going up, usually UVXY or the VIX is going down. So I like to trade that too. But different ETFs have different like values inside of them depending on the stocks that they hold.
Now, for somebody starting like myself, I want something stable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My thing is for it to grow steadily. I don't care for a lot of volatility in something I don't know, right? It's high, volatility to me looks like higher risk. So, what would you tell me the top 5 stocks for me to invest in, or somebody listening to invest in, to just grow, at a stable, modest pace?
Stable stocks would have to be like the blue chip companies that are like over time they've been able to grow consistently and just shown that they've been doing well. Like for example, Apple, Facebook is a good one. Amazon is a little. It's had a little bit of time to grow, but at the same time, it still hasn't had time to like get to that point.
Right.
Berkshire Hathaway, because Tesla, I would say Tesla, but they have potential, but they haven't been around that long either. That's
They was
very
zooming
volatile.
up.
Yeah, they were zooming up, but that's not growth. That's just like volatility. So
Gotcha.
Tesla's very volatile. So in terms of growth, I don't recommend Tesla for that. But in terms of trading, I love trading Tesla. It's beautiful because
Why is it beautiful for trade? Talk to me.
So because of how it moves, like the point spread on it. So it was very volatile like a few months ago, like super, like it would move like $10 or $20 in a day,
Right.
like just up or down, and you can trade that basically. So since you have a certain time limit, like on your trades, you can get like same day expiration contracts and scalp. So if it moves down like super quickly, like if it moved down $1, $2, $3, each dollar it moves down, you can theoretically make $100 per contract that you have. So if you have multiple contracts, like if I got 10 contracts, then if it moves $1, I make 1,000. So per dollar move, and if it moves $10 or $20, something like that, I make 10, 20,000.